Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
We are following three breaking news stories this morning. First, a fire in Durham. Crews are at a home on Craven Street working to put out flames.
And one person is dead after a crash in Raleigh. A car overturned on Trawick Road. The closure that's in place right now.
And troopers shared with us in the last 2 hours, a motorcyclist was killed on US 401. The crash near the Harnett-Wake County line.
And the heat continues, a second day in a row of temperatures in the 90s for the afternoon. And then we transition to a wetter pattern. We'll walk through that.
Well, statewide changes, new rules could be coming to your child's school. The bill's being considered on things like school start times, grading standards, and much more. We have a full schedule for you here today on your Thursday as we get started here straight up 6 a.m. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. A lot happening while you are sleeping. We'll get you caught up as you wake up here and we ease you into your Thursday morning. It's a warm start, and Elizabeth going to be another hot day.
It is looking at 90 again. We hit 90 yesterday, which tied the previous record. It's partly cloudy this morning, but a nice start out there. This is a live look, of course, at RDU at Terminal 2. It is 69 degrees and our dew point's at 61. And this measure of the moisture in the atmosphere, that puts us kind of middle of the road. We call it tolerable. It's not a summer-like feel out there, but it's certainly not sort of an early spring, fall refreshing feel either. Our temperatures are ranging from the mid to upper 60s this morning, so pretty comfortable. You may not need a jacket heading out the door. And then it's hot again this afternoon with a high of 90. Tomorrow we begin a wetter pattern. There could be some rain that affects your weekend plans. I'll walk you through the timeline. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, at 6:01, we want to get right to that breaking news we've been following all morning long. This situation, the deadly crash on Trawick Road. Let's get right to WRAL's Kelsey Coffey on the scene to let us know exactly what happened. Kelsey, good morning.
Ken, good morning. Officers have been here for more than 5 hours now. I'll step out the way so you can get a look at the scene here, but we're trying to figure out how much of Trawick Road is closed, but we do know that it's closed near Sedgefield Pines Lane. Officers have just blocked off this entire section, but we'll give you a look now at video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see EMS there responding, a busy scene. We received an update from Raleigh police. They say officers arrived to the crash site just after 1:30 this morning. Only one car was involved, but by the time officers arrived, the driver was dead. So we're working to find out what led up to this crash. And again, this road is still shut down, so there are several neighborhoods in this area. Ken, what can you tell folks as they head out on their morning commute?
Yeah, because of the amount of neighborhoods in that area around Trawick Road, as we widen out the view, I can tell you that a Skypress Drive is really your best bet, because that'll take you over to Brentwood, which will take you to Capitol Boulevard, and then if you want to get to the Beltline, that's an easy route onto the Beltline. As we widen out the view, though, all our major routes from Wendell to Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
We're also following breaking news out of Durham, where crews, a massive scene, went to Craven Street to battle a fire there. WR's Monica Casey is right there on that scene. Monica, this response was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Jeff, and we've learned some new information that 2 people were taken to the hospital in association with this fire. I want to show you just how big this scene still is. Take a look at all of these fire trucks lined up down here, down Craven Street. Durham Fire tells me about 46 personnel responded to this fire. They got the call around 3:39 this morning. At least 9 full-size trucks still here. They are starting to pack up. And in this spot, we're also getting a better look at the home in question here. It's really dark right now, you can see, but this is the home where that fire started. DFD tells me there were 3 people inside this home. One man heard the smoke detector going off and he got out. They then had to go in and rescue 2 victims, even breaking a window to get into one of those victims. They have been transported to the hospital with their condition unknown right now. They are displaced and the Red Cross has been notified. They tell me this fire was under control in about 15 minutes and they are clearing this scene here now. So things coming to a close here, but that house, a ton of damage, and those 2 people in the hospital here this morning. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
More breaking news. One person was killed in a motorcycle crash on US 401. This is A look from the WRAL breaking news tracker. It happened around 2 a.m. in Harnett County near the Wake County line. Troopers say speed was a factor, and we're working to learn the name of the motorcycle rider.
New this morning, authorities in Hope County arrested a man accused of leading law enforcement past a possible homemade explosive device. Jonathan Oxendine was arrested last night after a foot chase by sheriff's deputies. Last month, officers say he escaped alcohol law enforcement, running into the woods where they then discovered what appeared to be an IED with a tripwire. Oxendine now faces several charges.
A man was arrested on after a short chase on I-40. Sky 5 capturing the scene from around 2 yesterday afternoon. State Highway Patrol says that car was clocked going over 100 miles per hour. Troopers chased the driver before the man got out of the car and started running. 22-year-old Lazarus Reed was charged with fleeing to elude arrest and aggressive driving. This morning, teachers, families, and community members in Chapel Hill and Carborough are teaming up to advocate for better funding. They are holding walk-ins at several schools this morning at 7:30. The Chapel Hill Carborough Association of Educators argues the state has fallen short in funding public schools. The district has cut positions because of the budget. In addition to restoring those positions, the school board's expansion budget asks to restore master's pay and increase salary supplements.
Today, new bills that could have a big effect on your child's school are up for debate at the Legislative Building, where we give you this live look this morning in Raleigh. The State House will take up a bill that would get rid of state restrictions on school calendars. If it passes, it would allow each school system to decide when to start and end each semester. The Senate passed a different version of that bill yesterday. Another bill would lower performance grading standards for K-5 schools. And a third bill would direct the Department of Public Instruction to overhaul how it teaches math in grades K-8.
Time is 6:06 here in the WRAL Life Center. I have to show you this intense video that is playing out in Israel right now. We're talking about multiple countries that have sent firefighting aircraft to Israel because of a wildfire that is shutting down a major highway there. It's the one that connects Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. The fire actually started yesterday afternoon, and the dry and the hot conditions, they are not helping during this. Communities even had to be evacuated as the smoke billows here. I'm going to scroll back in the video because I think it may have played ahead just a little too far here, so you can see just how intense the smoke and the flames are. In terms of injuries, I've only seen about 12 people were treated at hospitals yesterday, mostly because of smoke inhalations. But at last check, no deaths have been reported in this.
Today, work to improve public schooling gets back underway. It is the final session of a 3-day planning session for the State Board of Education. Today, they will vote on pay for teachers who missed several work days because of Hurricane Helene. They will also receive information on charter schooling in North Carolina, academic performance in Native American communities, and early graduations.
U.S. Attorney's Office says this North Carolina man is the ringleader of a global child exploitation network. Prasanth Nepal is from High Point. He's accused of running a group that threatens and manipulates minors online. That group is called 764. It's a violent online extremist group. An affidavit says the group is known to have forced some as young as age 13 to share videos of them engaging in sexually explicit conduct and setting themselves on fire in some instances, abusing their pets or siblings, even suicide. Cybersecurity expert Kimberly Simon wants parents to know these groups exist.
So it's getting more and more dangerous for children if they're not monitored.
And she says the group even has a guidebook for grooming that outlines the kids they are targeting. Simon also says keep your children safe, know what apps your kids are using, check privacy settings on all their devices, and teach children not to talk to strangers, and not just in person, but online as well.
Duke University is taking a proactive approach to avoiding large-scale layoffs. The Vice President of Human Resources shared some ideas on how the university can continue to prioritize research and teaching missions. Duke leadership says it's impossible to address the scope of threats to federal funding without making changes to staffing levels. They hope that by being proactive, mass layoffs and terminations will be avoided this summer.
Newly released hospital safety grades once again give a local hospital the worst mark in the state. Granville Medical Center in Oxford was given a D by the Leapfrog Group in its spring report card released this morning. The facility also received a D on each report card since fall of 2023. All hospitals in the Triangle received A or B grades. Those grades are based on overall hospital safety with a focus on preventing medical errors. You can see the full report card and where your local hospital grades out on WRAL.com.
A bill banning diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in state government and in public schools is moving forward in the state legislature. The state house passed the measure that would mean public employees could be fined $10,000 and lose their jobs for promoting any of those things. The bill could also end programs supporting minority-owned businesses through government contracts. Republican sponsors say DEI efforts are discriminatory and cause division. Democrats say the bill is an attempt to erase the fact that inequality still exists. The bill now heads to the state Senate.
More than 80 people, including librarians, educators, and school board members, met for a town hall at Athens Drive High School. That group says they gathered in defense of books, budgets, and basic knowledge, and they view select legislation as a threat to libraries. House Bill 636 proposes creating processes to review library books at the school level. Librarian Jane Miller sees it as a form of censorship.
Libraries are being targeted at the state legislature, and it's so unnecessary. Our school board has a wonderful policy for parents to be involved.
And on the other hand, nonpartisan group Pavement Education Project supports the bill. They've even curated a list of books for people to object to for content they say could harm young minds. Sam Hershey is a Wake School Board member, and he says the funding for libraries could be discussed by a committee this month.
We want to give you a live look at RDU Airport. Today you can learn more about the environmental impact of upcoming construction around the airport. RDU plans to expand one of the roads that wraps around the terminals. We're talking about John Brantley Boulevard. The workshop starts at 5 this evening. Deportation case continues. A judge ruled in favor of allowing the case involving pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil to go on, while the Trump administration says his claims should not be brought before the courts.
And 11 New York high schoolers involved in alleged lacrosse team hazing have turned themselves in. We'll walk you through what happened.
Today's another dry, hot one with a high of 90 degrees, but we have rain in the forecast just in time for the weekend. I'll walk through it so you can plan around it.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:14, here's a live look at Carr Lake. A good bit more cloud cover up here near the Virginia line this morning. We're seeing a mix of sun and clouds across our area. This is a look, of course, from Clarksville, Virginia, across the lake. Still going to be nice weather to get out on the lake today, even with some clouds this morning. We'll see a high of 90 this afternoon. Heading out the door, 63 in Roxborough, at 67 in Rocky Mount, 66 in Goldsboro, 68 in Garner, anywhere from the mid-60s to around 70 heading out the door this morning. So I didn't even take my jacket this morning. And again, a few clouds out there, but a nice warm, nice mild start. It'll be a hot afternoon. Walking the dog at lunchtime. Expect mid-80s. We'll see a high of 90, which will be close to a record high. The evening walk still in the mid-80s. Coming up, we'll take a look at our wetter weekend. Ken?
Elizabeth, all our major routes are delay-free right now, but I want to focus on one of our main secondary roads. This is Trawick Road. There was a deadly crash there in the last couple of hours, and Trawick Road is closed between Sedgefield Pines Lane and Marsh Creek Road right there. So it's a situation where there are a lot of neighborhoods in that area. So if this is part of your morning commute, your best bet will be to take Skycrest Drive over to Brentwood, which takes you to Capitol, and that'll get you onto the Beltline.
Thanks, Ken. A judge ruled Mahmoud Khalil can move forward with his deportation case in federal court. Khalil claims he was unlawfully detained and targeted for deportation because of his political views. The Trump administration argues the Immigration and Nationality Act prevented federal courts from reviewing Khalil's claims. He was granted permanent U.S. resident status last year. Khalil is being held in an ICE detention facility in Louisiana. His legal team says the ruling is an important step in establishing Khalil's freedom.
Closing arguments begin today in the trial of a man accused of beating his parents, resulting in his mother's death. Christopher McCullough testified in front of a Wake County jury yesterday. He told jurors he was under a spell when the beating happened. He talked about his struggles with addiction and claimed his mother helped fuel his habits. Then he talked about assaulting his father.
Me and my dad got into a fight. I struck him like twice. He fell down. I come back and I noticed my mother's laying face down.
Did you ever punch Mary?
No. I'm a mama's boy, man. Like, I love her. So.
McCullough could face life in prison without parole if convicted.
11 New York high school students have turned themselves in after an alleged hazing stunt on younger players on their lacrosse team. Michelle McConaughey is here now with what happened. Michelle.
Renee, at least one student was taken to the remote woods and tied up. Investigators say they believe 11 people, maybe even more, were involved in this stunt. They are all members of the West Hill High School lacrosse team. The DA says 5 younger students were tricked into thinking they were going to McDonald's after a game last week. An older player was driving, pretended to be lost, and led the students to a staged kidnapping in the woods. At some point, people came out of the woods dressed in black, and they were armed with what appeared to be at least one handgun and a knife. One student was put in the trunk of a car with his hands tied and a pillowcase over his head. This could spell very big trouble for the school.
The school certainly could be sued by the families of the victims if they can show that there was damage sustained. Clearly there was, and if they can show that somehow there was a failure to supervise these students.
And the DA had said the students would face kidnapping charges if they did not surrender to authorities. Some of the people involved are of age, meaning they're at least 18 years old. None of their names have been released.
There's a horrifying hazing incident, Michelle. Garner Police Chief Lori Smith officially retired after nearly 30 years with the department. Smith began her work with Garner in 1997. She was promoted to sergeant in 2004, chief in 2021. Smith was a trailblazer for the department, becoming the first sworn female member of command staff, first female captain, and first female chief. Garner Deputy Police Chief Chris Adams has taken over as interim chief now until the next permanent chief can be selected.
It is 6:19 on your Thursday morning. We've been riding the heat wave this week. We hit 90 yesterday. That tied a record high. And Elizabeth, we could hit 90 again today, but it'll be just short of the record high for today.
The record high today is 92 at RDU. So even if we hit 90, which tied it yesterday, we'll be just off of it by a couple of degrees. We're looking at a bit of cloud cover. You can see some of that in Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, all seeing a mix of sun and clouds. And Chapel Hill is courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. Here's a look at our next weather maker. It's this whole system. The warm front to the north of us is allowing warm air to move up underneath it. And so that's why we hit 90 yesterday. We'll see that today and into tomorrow as well. And then this cold front approaches. That's going to push some rain our way by Friday. And then this whole thing, especially this low pressure system, this is a look at what's happening at the surface, but we also watch what's happening in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And that low may stall here and continue to bring cooler temperatures and some rain to North Carolina. So this is what we're looking at for the next 4 days. It's a 40% chance of afternoon and evening storms on Friday, a 30% chance again late in the day. Sunday, though, we could see rain on and off all day, and the same thing on Monday, but we'll see more coverage on Sunday than we do on Monday. So Sunday looking like the wettest day. Saturday, there is a level 1 risk for severe storms really all up and down the East Coast. So a few of those storms late Saturday could produce some wind damage. Let's jump in and talk about Friday. Most of Friday's dry. That's lunchtime. Once we get into the evening commute, we have some showers and storms that develop, and that continues on into the evening. Those will be fairly scattered and end, say, after midnight or so. And then we see that on repeat for Saturday. Saturday, we can take it all the way out till around 2 o'clock. That's as far as our short range model goes. So we pick it up with a long range model, and here's 11 o'clock on Saturday, and the front comes through again with late day showers and storms. Some of those could be strong to severe. And then that front stalls, the low stalls, and we continue to have rain on and off for Sunday and Monday, and possibly even into Tuesday, but it looks like we start to see this pattern breaking down. But again, that 90% chance on Sunday means that that's the day that will be the wettest, of course. How much rainfall? Probably ½ an inch to an inch of rain across the area as this moves on through. Some good news is it does look like it's probably going to be dry for Race for the Cure, but potentially everything that happens in the late evening on Saturday could be wet, and then Sunday plans also look wet. Ken?
Oh, this is what's happening now. We want to stay on top of that breaking news we've been following this deadly crash here on Trawick Road. And right now, Trawick Road remains shut down between Setchfield Pines Lane and Marsh Creek Road. We have a live pic courtesy of photographer Mark Alexic. You can see what's happening here, the end result of that crash. You see the vehicle right there, and the reconstruction team is actually there. They got to the scene, officers did, and found that the driver was deceased in this situation. But we'll continue to follow this and have a live report coming up.
Bill Belichick responds. UNC's football coach is defending his girlfriend Jordan Hudson, how he explains their uncomfortable moment during a news interview.
And more Star Bar arrests the additional employees who are facing charges after a shooting at the Raleigh nightclub.
Coming up on Today, buying American-made products with tariffs expected to drive up costs for foreign-made goods. Some shoppers may lean towards local products. What a cart full of domestic products looks like at the grocery store.
And here's a look at your winning lottery numbers. What's trending is next.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
The one and only Barbra Streisand is partnering with some of the biggest names in music.
And a behind-the-scenes look at Keanu Reeves' stunts. Ken Smith does all his own stunts. He's here now with What's Trending. Ken.
Yeah, we're talking about his role as John Wick, the new documentary Wick is Pain, showing all that went into creating the John Wick films, in addition to a never-before-seen interview with Keanu Reeves. Now, the new doc will focus on how the first John Wick film almost never made it to theaters because of financial problems.
Wow, Wick is Pain. May 9th it comes out, and producers have already said that there'll be a 5th John Wick movie coming out as well.
Successful franchise, right? Music fans, Barbara's back in studio. How about that? Barbra Streisand announcing a new album, The Secret of Life Partners Volume 2, featuring some major stars like Paul McCartney, Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande, Bob Dylan. The new album will hit streaming platforms June 27.
And the first track is out now. It's a cover of Roberta Flack's The First Time Ever, I Saw Your Face, featuring Hozier. Just listen to it on Spotify, and it starts out, both of them are singing beautiful harmony. Their voices blend so well. I mean, Babs is 83, and she loves collaborating with gifted artists. She says she just learns something new every time. So cool.
Those are some duets.
So it's going to be a major hit.
Ken, thanks. All right, Renee, get your fascinators and your mint juleps ready. The 151st running of the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs happens Saturday. You can watch it all live on WRAL. The action gets started at 2:30, all leading up to the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
And, you know, maybe not as exciting, but you got to go to school today. You may not need your jacket or your sweater this morning. Temperatures mid-60s to near 70 heading out the door, but it's hot as the kids head home at 90. I'll show you how many more hot afternoons are in our forecast this week.
Also, what we're following right now, crash in Raleigh. A person was killed in this crash on Trawick Road. The closure and how it could affect traffic.
And educators take action. Walk-ins are being held at Chapel Hill Carborough City Schools this morning. The message they have for state lawmakers.